At one point, I was actually legally blind, and I could only basically see color and fuzzy shape. I remember using these a lot. I've always kind of wanted to drive. Like, who doesn't?
It's very hard in our current society to function without being able to drive. It's a huge rite of passage in our society.
I remember domes were really the first magnifiers I ever used.
Dan was just 6 years old when he was diagnosed with uveitis, which causes 15% of irreversible blindness in the United States.
He had uveitis in his right eye, which is an inflammation inside the eye. It's usually an autoimmune process where the body reacts against itself.
I was in first grade, and they figured there was something wrong with me because my eyes were crossing.
His vision got so bad that they started teaching him Braille. And just the thought that, your child might need these things to get through the rest of his life.
Yeah, it was scary.
The most common cause of uveitis in children is actually juvenile idiopathic arthritis, or JIA.
You think about juvenile arthritis as arthritis. It affects the joints. But there's something about the tissues in the eye and the tissues in the joints that are sufficiently similar that the inflammation that can attack the joints can, in some children, also affect the eyes.
It takes a collaborative effort to manage uveitis. Dan's care team included a pediatric ophthalmologist, a pediatric rheumatologist, and a specialist in uveitis.
I feel very comfortable with the team at the Eye Institute. They've come up with this plan to quiet his immune system down so that there would be less attacking of his eye tissue going on in the hopes of improving his vision.
Dan's disease brought great challenges for his doctors. In order to keep the symptoms in check, he received regular infusions of immune suppression medications. And as the disease progressed, he developed serious complications. He has had surgeries to remove cataracts in both eyes, reduce swelling around the retinas, and ease pressure from glaucoma.
With Dan's surgery, we had to free up the adhesions between the iris and the lens to break up all the scar tissue to put the lens implant in. All this whiteness is the cataract in his eye.
The fluctuations in Dan's vision kept doctors on their toes. They're continuing to monitor him regularly.
It was the worst in elementary school. I would have regular uveitis flare-ups, and my vision would get blurry. Then when I would come home from school, I would have to have my mom write my homework answers for me.
We both felt or questioned whether or not he'd be able to drive.
Hey, Daniel, how are you?
Pretty good.
It just got to the point where he realized, hey, I'm reaching 16, and you know what? I think I can do this.
The doctor has said, Dan's wondering if it would be a possibility for him to apply for a learner's permit. He looked at Dan and he said, "Drive away, my man." And Dan was smiling from ear to ear.
My first time driving only lasted about 10 seconds, and I was afraid to get back on the road after that.
Let's just go do some highway driving.
He has 20/25, 20/30 vision, which is more than I hoped for.
He's never given up, never threw his hands up and said he can't deal with this over the years. He's just a tremendous kid, and he's grown into quite a young man.
It's fantastic that Daniel has achieved the vision that allows him to learn to operate a motor vehicle. The fact that he recovered so much vision from his treatment and the surgeries he's undergone is phenomenal. He's going to have a fairly normal life.
This is Leslie White for the Flom Eye Institute at the University of Rochester Medical Center.